It was a freezing winter morning in a small American town. Snow covered the sidewalks, and people hurried past, wrapped tightly in coats and scarves. At the corner of the park, a stray dog lay shivering. His fur was dirty and gray, thin body so frail that ribs could be seen. His sad eyes reflected hunger and pain, old wounds still visible on his legs. People walked by. Some looked with pity, but most turned away. A few even waved him off, afraid he might carry disease. The dog curled up in the snow, eyes following footsteps fading into the distance. Then, one man stopped. His name was David, a middle-aged man who had lived alone since his wife passed away. He looked at the dog for a long moment, and his eyes softened with compassion. David removed the wool scarf from his neck and gently wrapped it around the trembling body of the dog. Without hesitation, he lifted the weak animal into his arms and carried him home, ignoring the curious stares of strangers. At his small house, David lit the fireplace, laid the dog on a thick rug, and brought him a bowl of warm water and bread. The dog hesitated at first, then ate hungrily, as though he had not eaten for days. The next day, David took him to the local veterinarian. The doctor examined the dog carefully and said, "He's lucky. Just one more week on the streets, and he wouldn't have survived." David's hands tightened as he listened, feeling a deep ache in his heart. From that day on, the dog had a name, Buddy. Slowly, Buddy regained strength. His fur grew thick and golden again. His eyes became bright, and his tail wagged happily whenever David came home. They became inseparable. For a man who had lost his family, Buddy was now his closest companion. They walked together every morning. At night, Buddy lay by his feet as David read in his chair. The house was no longer empty. Time passed, and Buddy grew into a healthy, loyal dog. 2 years later, on a summer evening, David drove home after a late shift at work. As he crossed a deserted intersection, a large truck suddenly lost control. Tires screeched. The truck swerved violently and crashed into a tree. David's car was caught in the collision. Glass shattered. He was trapped inside, bleeding from his head, struggling to stay conscious. The street was empty, and night had fallen. No one was there to help. At home, Buddy sat by the window, ears perked, waiting. Uneasy, he barked frantically, then suddenly bolted out the door, running into the dark night. Buddy ran through the quiet town, nose to the ground, following the faint scent of the man he loved. His paws pounded against the pavement until he reached the crash site. There, he saw David, motionless in the car. Buddy barked loudly, desperate, but the road was empty. No one heard. So he sprinted toward the main road, barking madly, weaving in front of cars until headlights stopped. Drivers stepped out of their cars, confused at first. Buddy tugged at their sleeves, barked again, then ran a few steps, stopping to look back, urging them to follow. Curiosity turned into alarm when they followed Buddy and saw the wrecked car.
Come on, boy,
Inside,
what is it?
a man lay unconscious, blood on his face. It was David. Emergency services were called immediately. When doctors arrived, they managed to free David and rushed him to the hospital. One doctor said gravely, if he had been found any later, he wouldn't have survived. The rescuers all turned their eyes to Buddy, now sitting faithfully by the stretcher. When David finally opened his eyes in the hospital, the first thing he saw was Buddy, sitting by his bed, brown eyes glistening with tears, tail wagging gently. With a trembling voice, David whispered, "You saved me, Buddy, just like I once saved you." News of the incident spread quickly through town. People were amazed by the story of the stray dog who had once been rescued, now repaying the favor in the most unbelievable way.
It's always a
David
pleasure
often
to
told
see
people
all of you
later,
out here.
"I thought I only saved Buddy once, but in truth, Buddy has saved me for a lifetime." The bond between man and dog, simple yet powerful, became a story that warmed hearts and brought tears to many eyes. Thank you for watching this story to the end. If you would like to see more tales of dog rescues, loyalty of dogs, and unusual friendships between animals, please like and subscribe to Soulpaw Stories V. Goodbye, and see you in our next story about dogs and loyalty.